Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode here on True Confessions, Naija. The confession you're about to listen to comes from a message we received from one of our brothers, and the message reads like this. Hello, Uncle Ori. Hello, guys. I don't even know where to begin. I've been sitting here for hours, trying to put my emotions into words. My hands are shaking as I type this because I just discovered a secret that has completely destroyed everything I knew about my life, my family, and even myself. This is not something I ever imagined saying out loud, but I feel someone out there that has to listen to this will understand my pain. Please, I want to remain anonymous. I'm sharing this because the truth is heavy for me to carry alone. Everything started when I was still in primary school. I used to see things, people who were not alive. At first, I thought it was normal. I thought maybe other kids also saw strange things, strange shadows, or heard whispers in the dark. But soon, I realized I was different. I would wake up in the middle of the night, drenched in sweat, and there would be a man standing by my window, covered in blood, staring right at me. Sometimes, it would be a woman or a child. They would speak to me. They would say things like, "Your grandfather is the reason I died." I didn't understand. I was just a boy. But every time it happened, I felt like I was losing a part of my mind. I told my mother. She told me to stop talking nonsense. When the voices and visions became too much, my parents took me to doctors, psychologists, even churches. Everyone said I was either depressed, stressed, or taking something I shouldn't. They said I was hallucinating. My mother especially, she would look at me with disgust, like I was an embarrassment. She told me that if I ever mentioned seeing dead people again, she would disown me. I was a child, scared, lonely, and confused. As I grew older, the visions became stronger. When I got to high school, the dreams turned into full-blown nightmares. I would dream of a man with half his face missing, holding a gun dripping with blood. He would point it at me and scream, "You are the reason I am dead." Sometimes I'll wake up screaming, sweating, shaking, and then it started happening even when I was awake. I'll get into a taxi, look in the mirror, and see a bloodied passenger sitting quietly behind me. No one else saw them, just me. I stopped taking taxis. I'll walk everywhere. I was terrified of falling asleep, terrified of being awake. My grandfather was a businessman, a respected man in the village. He had cows, shops, taxis. Everyone feared him. They called him a traditional man, a man who spoke to the ancestors. But as a child, I didn't understand the evil behind those words. He loved me, at least that's what everyone said. He was always called his special one. Whenever there was family gatherings, he would make sure I was there beside him. When I was little, he used to take me on a long drive in his white Cressida. At first, it was fun, just me and my grandfather, windows down, music playing. But later, I began to notice strange things. Sometimes, the car would smell like blood. Sometimes, he would stop in the middle of nowhere, take out a knife, covered in something dark and sticky, and tell me to pour traditional beer over it. He would whisper things under his breath in a language I didn't understand. Then, he would say, "Do not look back, no matter what you hear." I can't describe the fear I felt in those moments. The silence of the mountains, the cold wind, his face illuminated by the moonlight. He would tremble, sometimes even laugh in a strange, chilling way. When I got older, I learned that my grandfather had a reputation. People said he was involved in rituals, that he had sacrificed people to gain wealth and power. Some even said he sacrificed his own son. My uncles told me that one of my cousins, or maybe an uncle, was buried in the kraal with the cows, and that no one was ever allowed to enter there again. I didn't want to believe it. I told myself these were all village rumors. But deep down, something inside me knew. The dead people I kept seeing weren't hallucinations. They were victims. Fast forward to university. I thought things would change. New city, new life. But the nightmares came back stronger than ever. One night, I woke up to find a woman sitting on the edge of my bed, her eyes full of tears, her neck twisted unnaturally. She whispered, "He promised us freedom, but he gave us death." I screamed so loud that my roommates thought I was losing my mind. And maybe I was. My mother told me to see a doctor again. They gave me antidepressants, anxiety pills, sleeping pills, so many pills that my body became numb. I stopped feeling emotions. I stopped feeling like a man. I couldn't even be with a woman anymore. My body simply refused to respond. The doctor said it was stress, but deep down, I knew it was something deeper, a curse. Then, everything changed last year. One of my uncles, someone I trusted, sent me a message on Facebook. He said, "Do you know that your grandfather is your real father?" I froze. I read it again and again. My chest tightened. My hands went cold. I called him immediately, but he didn't pick up. Hours later, he sent another message. It was a ritual that went wrong. I felt like the walls stopped spinning. I packed my bags and drove all the way to KwaZulu-Natal to confront him face to face. When I arrived, I called on my relatives. I showed them the message. They were all silent. No one could look me in the eyes. That's when my uncle finally said it. My mother had been impregnated by my grandfather during one of his rituals. It wasn't love. It wasn't an accident. It was part of a ceremony. One that was meant to create power for the family. They tried to abort me several times, but every attempt failed. And when I was finally born, they decided to keep me a secret. My father, the man I grew up calling Dad, was actually my brother. My mother was my sister-in-law. My grandfather was my biological father. At that moment, something inside me broke. Everything started to make sense. The hatred, the strange dreams, the way my mother would cry whenever I asked about my real dad. Even the way my grandfather used to stare at me. Sometimes with pride, sometimes with disgust. I realized I had been living a lie my entire life. I called my mother late at night. I expected her to deny it, to tell me it wasn't true. But she didn't. She just cried. And for the first time, I saw guilt in her voice. She said, "You were never supposed to find out." That one sentence shattered me completely. Since that day, I haven't been the same. I can't sleep. I can't focus. I look myself in the mirror and I don't recognize the person I see. I think of my childhood, the laughter, the pain, the confusion, and I realize everything was built on lies. My grandfather died 10 years ago, but it feels like his shadow still lives inside me. I hate him for what he did. I hate my mother for her silence. I hate the whole family for protecting him. The only person I truly miss is my grandmother. She was the only one who ever defended me when my grandfather turned violent. She would throw herself between us, shouting, "Leave the boy alone." When she died, everything went downhill. Now, I sit here wondering, should I forgive them? Should I pretend I never found out? How do you forgive a man who cost your blood before you were even born? How do you forgive a mother who watched in silence as you suffered your entire life? I feel like a ghost living in my own body. I feel like a mistake that was never meant to exist. Sometimes I still see the dead. Sometimes I hear their whispers. You are not to blame, and maybe they are right. Maybe I'm not the one who sinned. Maybe I'm just the result of someone else's evil. But still, I can't help but feel broken. If you're listening to this, please tell me, what would you do? Would you forgive? Would you walk away? Or would you expose everything and let the truth burn whatever left of the family name? Because I sit here tonight staring at the ceiling, I still don't know how to move on. This is my story, and it hurts more than words can say. That was a message sent to us by one of our listeners. What do you think about this? Please, brothers and sisters, let's talk about it in the comments.